Before we start the program, Maggie, how are you feeling?
I am feeling very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Has it been a good start to the year?
It's been a great start. How is it already, February 7th or something? 8th?
January
7th.
was a roller coaster ride, was it not?
It was a roller coaster ride.
How about Keith Smith? How are you, my friend?
I was just thinking maybe January was a ski slope ride.
We were supposed to be here in January.
You were supposed to be. You were supposed to start the first show of the year, but the silly thing called snow got in the way.
Electricity got in the way.
Low electricity got in the way.
Right.
Doing great, Mr. Miller. Had a great weekend and excited to start the week on our Monday Market Monitor with Maggie. Boy, wow. Monday Market Monitor with Maggie.
There you go.
Way too many M's there.
Yeah.
There you go. That's alliteration right there. We'll spotlight the market, guys. We'll talk about inventory levels, certainly. We'll see if this January cold weather looks like the snow has melted, and perhaps we'll start seeing some inventory hit the market as we speak. We'll talk the impact of increasing rates. Lake Monticello is absolutely on fire, and we have two experts here on the show where Lake Monticello is undoubtedly a foundation to their success. That's safe to say?
Absolutely.
Judah Wickhauer, we can rock and roll when you're ready. Guys, good Monday morning. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk here on the I Love Seville Network. So much to cover, guys, on the Monday Market Monitor version of Real Talk. And today's show is going to be fantastic. We have a guest that always rises to the occasion in Maggie Gunnels of the Gunnels Group. She's absolutely fabulous. She's got a listing, if I heard correctly, coming on the market very soon. Mm-hmm. I would imagine this listing is going to go under contract even faster than it went into the market because she has fantastic listings in her portfolio. Judah Wickhauer is our director. Keith Smith, of course, on the program as well. Good morning, my friends. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Morning, Jerry.
Doing well, Keith.
I'm doing great, but as our tradition, for the maybe two people that don't know you, can you introduce yourself to the two people that don't know you?
A lot of people don't know me.
The two people in our space that don't know you. So please introduce yourself and tell us your life story.
Yeah, so my name's Maggie Gunnels. I am the owner of Gunnels Group. We are a team of realtors based primarily out of Fluvanna County. Although we do business all over Charlottesville in Central Virginia, and I've been selling real estate for about 17 years. And we are a force, and we are expanding our team, and we're going to have another amazing year this year. So yeah, busy with all that.
2022. Put it in perspective here. So I know the cold and the snow made things perhaps a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? Cautious for some, but it looks like with the snow going away, Maggie, it's picking up again.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that?
Well, yeah, and you're totally right. So I brought a listing on when we all lost electricity, right next to you at Rivanna Village.
Okay.
And it was the first resale to come on market in the neighborhood, and so they paid. Well, a couple things here. They paid in the high fours for it like a year and a half ago, so we were kind of testing the waters on price.
Sure. That's a beautiful neighborhood.
It's a great neighborhood.
Yeah. Brand new inventory. Brand new homes.
Oh, brand new homes. The county amenities are going to be improving over there. You're 2 seconds to Charlottesville, but it was a little. I was expecting a little bit more.
Resistance?
I was expecting a little bit more like oomph from the market, and it didn't really. We got a great price, and the house is, it's all that's great, but
it didn't sell in seconds. It took a little bit of time. Is that what you're trying to say?
It did. I thought we would have had more offers.
Got it. But
it was the snow.
Do you think it was?
Totally
do you think it was because it was really still new construction? Because it was only a year and a half or something like that?
We listed almost $100,000 more than what they paid, and we're a year and a half later. That's crazy.
And did they get it?
they're going to get that and then some. So
amazing.
they're going to get a phenomenal price. And so, and we also thought that we underpriced it a hair. Because they were first to come on as a resale. And so we went like slightly under where we thought we would be, and they are going to do, very well.
You did the first resale in Rivanna Village?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That is good news for that. Rivanna Village is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, 2 more listings just came on, and I had agents calling me saying, "What give
What's
me
the feedback?
hints."
Yeah. What'd you tell them?
That my clients are very, very happy. They're very sad on the buying side, but they're very, very happy on the selling side. They're buying in DC. That's not fun.
They're going up to DC?
Yeah,
That's
are.
unusual.
Yeah,
Usually it's the other way around. That's a story into itself.
Well, I guess that's a whole other story. They worked for the hospital, and I guess never mind. That's a whole other story.
That's a topic for a different show.
Yeah,
this is a real estate show.
That's what we won't go there. I don't know anything about any of that.
So you've been doing this for 17 years,
almost,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Does this January feel a little bit more like a normal January to you, or is it just a little slow because of the weather? Does it feel like a normal winter? In other words, do you think we're going to have a normal traditional spring market, or was just a little hiccup, a little slow in January?
I definitely think losing electricity for the vast majority of the region affected that gusto that we expect once January 1 hits, because that's when our spring market really starts to take place and build its foundation, is right after the new year. So, that didn't happen. And I think it was electricity. But
in Glenmore, we lost power for a week.
Yeah. I know.
So Rivanna Village was probably
they
pretty
were out
similar,
too.
right?
Absolutely. So was the lake. A large portion of Fluvanna County was. But back to what you were saying, I definitely think maybe compared to... No, I think this year is going to be rock solid. I think we are headed into a phenomenal 2022. I don't think. Absolutely.
Well, I have mixed emotions about that, right? Because I think the lack of inventory is going to kind of hold things back on a little bit on the inventory thing. But as we talk all the time, I run the week over weeks here on that, and this is one of the first times that I can recall that we were pretty much on par. So this is all of the car footprint. This is Charlottesville, Albemarle, Fluvanna, Nelson, Greene, and Louisa.
Right.
88 new homes in this last week. 88 new homes came on the market, and 91 went pending. That's pretty good. It's usually been like a 2-to-1 ratio the other way. So I'm kind of thinking that I think we're going to start easing in February and March back into this normal March-April market. I think you're going to start seeing inventory picking back up. But as you can tell with all my spreadsheets that we've got over here, and thank you for reading all of them. Just looking briefly. Thank you. But for looking at what we have currently as of last night at Lake Monticello, there's only 8 homes available.
And I'll be bringing on at least 30% more.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So you got a couple more listings coming up, and we need to look. We talk about the lack of listings all the time. So tell me what you got coming up.
So I've got ranch properties coming. Ranch properties, and in the 3s and in the 2s. I'm hopefully bringing on a colonial. We'll see. I've got. Why am I missing? I know I'm missing. I'm blanking. I've got at least another listing.
So potentially 3 or 4 listings in a very short order.
Right.
So this goes back
I'm competing on another one later this week. Hire me.
I like it.
It's not with Keith and Yona by any chance, is it?
No.
Okay,
no.
good.
No.
But there's no competition there. So, but it kind of echoes what we've been talking about. At least I've been talking about that. I think this feels like you're going to start seeing the end of February. You've got 3, potentially 4 coming up at the lake, which I disagree with you on the 30%. I think as we look at Lake Monticello right now, there's only 4 homes that are on the market that have been between 0 and 9 days, and then it jumps up to 66, 93, 104, 116 days on market.
Right.
I don't consider those homes as being on the market, frankly.
No, those homes are going to have what I call fundamental flaws.
Ooh.
And so it's those things that you can't fundamentally change. So when you buy real estate, if you can, buy houses that have great fundamentals. those like check the box, you know, at the lake, you always want at least 2 bedrooms, things like that. So those houses are likely going to have an issue with them in a floor plan or in a lot, some issue you can't change, which your buyer pool is going to then be reduced to much smaller.
So I totally intend to steal that from you, by the way.
Fundamental flaws. Love it.
So I normally do the 5, like location, price, features, conditions, and then timing.
Right.
But you're 100% right. That shortens that down to fundamental flaws. And
Right.
I wrote that down, so I intend to steal it.
Steal it.
Thank you.
Questions coming in already from agents. Are you seeing a lot of escalation clauses and offers?
Yes.
You are?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're going to be competitive this year, unless you're one of these homes that have fundamental flaws, absolutely. I think you are not going to. I tell my mom all the time she would have been a terrible realtor in this market.
Wow.
Because that's why she would not feel good or comfortable, or competing with escalation clauses would be, you know, unheard of for her. So absolutely, I think.
Why is that?
Because when she was selling real estate, no one did that. The market was not like that. I mean, she was cranking out business during the recession. And she was cranking out business, so she was always
in the dark ages, like me.
In the dark ages, but they didn't do business like that then.
It's funny. Do you mind if we do a little counterpoint to it? Because I am not a huge fan of escalation clauses.
Okay,
Christy's watching right now. She says my favorite tool, the escalation clause.
Yeah, she's good at that.
Okay, so Christy, you offer perspective in the comment section, and then Keith and Maggie, you offer some perspective here. Why do you not like escalation clauses? And Christy, you tell us why you do, and Maggie, you tell us why. Okay, Keith, you go.
Well, and I guess now that I think about it, your mother and I, and probably been around the same length of time in the business.
That's right.
On the end of it, you know, look, it all depends on how they're written. So some of these ones that you receive that it says, look, we'll do an escalation clause up to $1 in certain increments.
Oh, right. You got to write it.
So as far as I'm concerned, you just told me you're offering the larger number, right? So that's how I look at it.
Right.
On that end of it, and it gets messy. I literally just wrote an offer last night and had a conversation with the first-time home buyer about an escalation clause, and I took it from a different perspective. I said, look, I've done my homework, I've done my research, I know what the market value is for this home today. My suggestion is to go into your highest and best offer, right? Minimize the conditions,
right?
And that's it. Because
right.
Otherwise it gets, I don't know, I've been involved in a lot of them lately with not written correctly, and it's a bloody mess.
The escalations.
It's a bloody mess.
Well, I think to your point that if you're going to offer the price, just offer the price.
Yeah.
And so for some sellers, that's a little irritating that, yeah, you're willing to pay that price, but you're not only if somebody else is willing to, you know, pay that price as well, which I get. On a buyer's perspective, I would say that it reduces your risk of paying more, obviously, for a property. So that's why an escalation can be helpful. But at the same time, I mean, I get it. I do think, especially if you're competing. The one thing I would say, if you're competing, I think your strategy. And you know you're competing, like, I think the way Rivanna Village is competing right now, I think they are competing heavier today than they were a month ago. If you're competing,
what do you mean by that?
Like, I think they definitely got more offers than we did. The listings in Rivanna Village that are on market or have people competed on them a few days ago.
But I think that's a timing thing,
right?
Because of the snow and January and all that.
And
stuff.
being the first house to the neighborhood with such a huge increase in such a short period of time, which is not surprising. That neighborhood, I think, is going to do really well in the long run. Really, really well.
So how do you with this escalation clause? How do you, depending on which party you're representing, how do you protect the buyer in this particular case against the appraisal issue? Do you put the appraisal contingency also in there, or? Well,
I will say I don't think. I mean, I think if you really want to be competitive, you're going to then say, hey, if it doesn't appraise, I'm going to pay, you know, $20,000 the difference or whatever you're able to do. I mean, sadly, that's the market we're in, and so talk to Christy. Like Christy's probably writing that right now.
She's got multiple comments, and we have Dan Pettit on the show, Brittany Gray of Nest on the program. Both Brittany and Dan Pettit agree that bringing the best offer is the best approach.
Really is.
To winning a house. Brittany, I'm curious of your perspective on this. Point for Keith from John Duquette. Against escalation clauses. So John Duquette is giving you a point for that argument that you just made. Christy's got some counterpoints for Keith Smith over here.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
She says this, the escalation clause, it's a market of doing what you have to do to
Agreed.
get the house. You do what you got to do. I tell my clients we are competing against 5 to 7 offers, and it allows us not to put all our cards on the table if we don't need to.
Right.
Also, they have to know they are risking spending all of that. And yes, giving up appraisal will definitely follow up with that in a bit here. So she's saying, look, the escalation clause offers a little negotiation leverage.
So
is what she's saying.
I want to be clear. I've done them before. I just don't like them, right? So it depends, and Christy's spot on. It depends on what's in the best interest of the client, right? And
their comfort level almost.
Correct, yeah. And this one that I did yesterday, after discussing it with our parents, this is a first-time home buyer, we all decided that this is what it is, and we strengthened our offer by putting a substantial down payment down, right? And removed all the rest of the contingencies. Information only for home inspection, no appraisal requirements on that end of it.
So Brittany says it's just not the season for escalation clauses.
I'm definitely, look, I get it. If you want to bring the strongest offer possible, you just need to go straight in for your number. But the reality is people are still using escalation clauses. I mean, I see them all the time, and it's all I do as sellers. So people are still using them, but if you want to be more competitive, don't. Because, a seller would rather just work with the most serious person. And when you don't use an escalation, you just say, hey, I'm going to pay this, that you come off a little bit more serious.
Are you starting to do pre-approval letters instead of pre-qualification letters?
I'm not really, I have not. Yes, I think that is a better idea to be able to have gone through underwriting and be able to say, hey, because let me tell you, I have seen more issues this last year with loans than I've ever seen before. Besides appraisal issues, just people. I have a buyer right now. Not my client, but she just went.
You're representing the seller.
The seller, goodness. So this house, and this woman went and got a line of credit. And
during the process of buying a home?
Right.
What?
Smart, right?
Why did she do that?
Yeah, I don't know. So
you would think, I would imagine the mortgage officer educated her not to do that. I mean, that almost is like, and I'm not trying to marginalize anybody, and I understand mistakes happen. Yeah. But that's almost like common sense not to do that.
Well,
don't go and get a line of credit or buy a car when you're trying to buy a house.
First and foremost, that buyer may not be using an actual person.
That's
they may
fair.
be using
automation.
They are, and they're using a local realtor whose name I won't say, and they are using a local lender. So it is a bit irritating.
Oh, I bet you are irritated, as you should be.
Yeah,
because their debt to income then got messed up, but they ended up getting a family member to pay cash, but not everybody has a family member with cash.
So I'll tell you a true story about that. Yasmina, our daughter, right? Mm-hmm. She's been in this, she's 36 years old, been in this business one way or another. We helped her buy a house up in Connecticut, sat her down. I said, don't open up a credit card, don't do anything unless you talk to me or your loan officer first.
Right.
And says, oh, Daddy, I just bought some new furniture for the house. And I go, please tell me you did it in cash. Please tell me you did it in cash.
Right.
Turned out that she did.
Good.
So it worked out great. But, just really, once you're in the middle of a closing, less is more.
Right.
Just
not only are you not, and this is some other tips, and we should actually talk about tips like this. If you're in the middle, if you're thinking about buying a house, you should not, even if you have another account linked to that account, do the have to pull funds from another account because you take one account to zero. That's one of the things you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to open up other lines of credit like credit cards, cars, locks, anything like this. I thought this was, I don't want to say common sense, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
Kind of is.
Yeah. I would think it kind of is too.
Look, I get it. If you're look,
people get it.
I'm sure I have done really dumb things before in my life and still do today.
I've done a dozen, and it's just only been since this morning.
I know.
No.
But so maybe I am being a little harsh, but it is. Yes, it is a little bit. You're getting a loan, and somebody that never mind. It's not that smart.
Well, that's a great idea for a What's Up Wednesday with Ross, Scott Morris and Ross Mortgage to do some tips, to do's and not to do's. But a lot of that, look, we've been doing this a long time. We sit, we coach, and we mentor buyers and sellers. Ultimately, sometimes they just do what they do, right? And in defense of whoever may be on the other side.
I think it's a very young couple that, never mind. It's
that got a little excited, right, and kind of lost their head a little bit, but you recovered from it because you're a pro, right? You're going to get.
Well, but my issue was, debt to income. This is where I thought the common sense thing wasn't very good. Is your debt to income where they're going to approve you is not like they usually approve you pretty generously, like to where you really should be buying a house. Like most people should not be working on the max.
Well, that's the reason why for like this offer we made yesterday, it wasn't a pre-qual letter, it was a pre-approval letter, right? Mm-hmm. It went all the way through underwriting, and the only two things that were needed was an appraisal and a contract. Right,
that's the way to go. If you can make that happen, that's definitely the way to go. I think that reduces one big hurdle, where, I think most houses, tell me if you might know the stat, but I believe it's like once you're under contract, you're statistically likely to sell, I think, 88% of the time. I think NAR, or is it lower than that? I feel like this last year it's probably gotten lower than that just because of appraisals.
You're talking about once going under contract and closing.
Yeah, like what is your likelihood of actually making it to closing? And I do think this last year might be a little bit different because of the fact that we had so many appraisal issues.
I bet you if I look at the Gunnels Group's numbers,
ours are very good.
I bet you're very close to 100%.
Yeah, I'm sure we are. I need to look that up.
We are very close to 100%.
Yeah.
So, but I think
you guys are pros.
Nationwide, I think you're right. It's in the 80s. Somebody will correct it.
So you're saying once you get under contract, the percentage of you getting to the closing table, the likelihood is 88%.
It's very high.
That's nationwide.
Very, very high. So if you then look at the opportunities it's a great stat. And so then if you look at the opportunities for it to fall apart,
it's always the lending.
The lending is an opportunity. The home inspection is an opportunity. Appraisal also related to lending.
He hates the home inspection contingency when it comes to this.
I just don't. I think in today's market, you don't see too many deals, at least I haven't, go squirrely over home inspection.
Oh, really? I feel like maybe it's just, I don't know. I feel like I have seen or heard about so many people. What I think has happened is people, sorry, I interrupted you.
No. It's a talk show. It's good. Yeah. So, you're good in a talk show setting. You have a lot to say.
I have way too much to say.
You do have a lot to say.
So
way too
Maggie,
much.
I'm actually listening to you, so please.
What were we talking about?
Home inspections.
You've seen them go awry.
Oh, right. Well, just contracts, and I think it's because, even though it's because this last year in particular, I think it's because a lot of buyers. We deal with a lot of first-time home buyers.
I know where you're going.
We deal with a lot of buyers with properties who were built in the 90s, so they're nearing end of life HVACs, roof, crawl space issues. Really big ticket cash items for someone who can only afford, not only, but who is affording.
At the top.
Yeah, let's say they're spending $250,000, right? $250,000, and they're first-time home buyers. Like, they don't typically have $5,000 sitting aside to go spend on these bigger ticket items. So they feel a little salty when they've paid this high price. Then their home inspection comes back with roof, crawl space, HVAC, these issues, and they're like, you know what? This doesn't feel good. I don't have that much money. So and then sellers are like, well, forget it. I'll go sell it to the next person. And I do think home inspections with that first-time home buyer.
Let's talk about a way to fix that for you.
Right.
Right. So I'm in a unique position because I'm a recovering developer and builder. I have a Class A license. So when in a half an hour walkthrough, I can tell you what's wrong with the home. It's not wrong with the home just because of my experience. Right. If you don't have that, it's something that we're doing and our team's doing a lot of, is that we're going to go see something that floats up to the top. Generally, we're going to go see it for a second time. We're going to bring in an inspector with us.
Yeah, I remember you saying that before.
And it works.
Yeah.
Right? And, it's not a quote-unquote formal thing, but what he or she will do, which reminds me of our conversation on Friday, but he or she will do is go ahead and at least go, okay, the roof, It's got 5 years left in it, right?
Right.
The HVAC, and I do this because it's just what I do. I look at it's a little tip talking about it. You look at the serial thing on the HVAC unit and go, okay, it's only 5 years old. They last for 10 years typically. You got 5 years. So that's the type of analysis that you do on that end of it. So if it falls apart at home inspection, it's got to be something big.
Serious, right. I think that honestly, you'd said that before, and I definitely think that that's a great thing to do, because you are, again, reducing your risks, both in the buyers too. Then they feel a little more comfortable if they are waiving the inspection, which we're seeing a lot of as well.
So I'll just jump in here. According to Trulia, this is from Brittany, 96.1% make it across the finish line.
No, I don't believe
beyond
that.
home inspection. 96.1%
After
make
home
it across
inspection.
the finish line beyond, after home
that's
inspection.
so your risk, 30% for each big hurdle to get
Yeah,
through. That makes sense.
Right.
From contract ratification to closing, I think that number's closer
30,
to
40.
80.
Dan says the HOA is also an opportunity to get out of the contract.
I
Right.
So-
So then that brings me back to my point. Something I talk about is deposits. Okay, so what do you think about deposits? I feel like the opportunity.
You're talking earnest money?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's take a moment. Maggie? No, explain what for those who are watching or listening.
So why don't I do this in layman's terms, because you guys
Right.
are the experts, okay? So the earnest money deposit shows the seller that you have skin in the game. If you do,
Does it though?
you're saying it doesn't. You're saying $5,000 is so nominal.
I feel like it almost doesn't matter, because just to what Dan's point is, there's so many opportunities for a buyer to get out of the contract clean and clear, not losing the deposit.
Oh, I love this show because I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
There's a big disagree.
And to Maggie's point, the earnest money is held in an escrow account that is not even associated with the seller, so it's not like they have that money in their possession.
They do have value. Yes, 100%. But does a buyer are they really ever risking that deposit? Not really, unless they really screw up, like that girl who went and bought credit. So you have to really, really, really screw up to have a chance of actually losing your deposit.
And she conceively could have wiggled out of that. That wasn't Rivanna Village, was it?
No, and no, this girl could not wiggle out.
So let's say let's say
No.
he or she,
No.
just so we don't get ourselves into trouble.
Okay.
The buyer.
Right.
Look. First of all, the term that I use is
Maggie. You're bringing it today.
Oh, goody.
You're bringing it today. Yeah.
is a good faith deposit. That's what this is. So in contract law, and I don't want to, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't claim to be that. But in order to consummate the contract, there has to be a good faith deposit in order for the contract to go.
Right.
I think the question you're asking me is how much, and it's usually 1 to 5% of the contract.
Right.
Where the good faith is somebody literally has to write a $5,000 check. It needs to clear.
Yeah.
Right? It needs to clear. It needs to go sit into an escrow. So it shows.
It's the first step of proof of funds. It's the first, I can do this, skin in the game. Big boy step, big girl step.
But to go back to how can we win a deal, right?
Right.
The GFD, the good faith deposit, is a part of that, right? So, if you're buying a $500,000 house and you're putting $1,000 down, it doesn't look right.
That doesn't make sense.
Right. So, $5,000 is 1%, $10,000 is 2%.
Better.
Is better. So it makes that. But you are 1,000% right. For all intents and purposes, it's only at risk if there's a suit.
Okay, so here's a follow-up question for you guys.
You have to really screw up. You have to, and never mind. Okay.
This is from Stephen and Crozet.
You can say whatever's on your mind.
Yeah, you totally can.
So how many deals have we done? Hundreds. And I have only had
That's Stephen's question. Of every deal that you ever done
smart guy.
in Crozet, how many times have you seen the earnest money deposit lost?
Twice, and one was an experienced realtor that lost the deposit for herself. I really had to I knew she had screwed up along the way, and I was like, she's going to keep screwing up, and this isn't going to happen. My people, it was only like $2,000, but my people were happy that I paid attention.
So what happened in the cases, and how about, same question for you after this, what happened in your two cases?
She did not apply for her loan within 5 days of contract ratification, and then she also told the lender to hold back on ordering the appraisal. So she told me these things, and
my God.
Right, and I was like, thanks for letting me know that.
Yeah.
So,
And why did she tell you this too?
she's a realtor. Like, what do they say? The worst attorneys are the ones that represent themselves. The worst realtors are the ones that represent themselves, right? So, and so at any rate, so I don't know, she just lost the deposit. And she's a very experienced realtor. Very experienced.
So the question, just to recap the question, as I understand it, is how, of all the 35 years, 40, 50, 60 transactions a year, did the seller keep the good faith deposit? Is that the question?
That is the question.
I can literally count it on one hand.
2 times for me.
Yeah.
Twice.
Same for you?
That's why it's a mood point. So I always have
That's
to
why you say it's
educate-
worthless.
It's worthless. That's why I tell the sellers that all the time. Like, look, be excited. They put $50,000 down, $20,000, whatever the number is. It doesn't really matter. They really have to screw up. And sometimes they do screw up, but that time when they screw up 99.9999% of the time, they're not going to screw up because A, we're not going to find out about the screw up, or they're
We're not
going
going to let them screw up because you're a pro.
Well, I mean, most, but some people don't apply within 5
Look,
days. Some people don't do things, and we just don't know it or a way of proving it.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe that happens. Appraisals don't get ordered in timely manner ever.
Well, that's getting worse.
Right, and so, but again, I don't think. I do think buyer agents do need to pay attention to that a bit more because that is where you have the opportunity of losing the deposit. And I don't think, look, again, twice, we sell hundreds of houses, hundreds, and twice, it doesn't happen.
I can literally count 5 in 30 years. It just doesn't.
Right.
Plus, it just doesn't happen.
But it does make a seller feel better.
Yes.
But it's not like it should.
But there is the physical act
Right.
of writing a $5,000, $10,000
Right.
check.
It's the perception.
It's
the perception piece.
And it probably does help put that mental skin in the game.
Yeah, right.
No, it's a fiscal skin in the game because the buyer,
That's right.
the buyer is pulling $5,000, $10,000 out of their check, or whatever the amount of money is out of their check. Their money is coming out of their checking account, so they're in this by that amount of money. Mm-hmm. It going to the seller, it has to be a major bleep up in order for that to happen.
Joe Duquette watching. I love Seville. I'm watching at Lake Monticello right now.
Hey.
He says, incidentally, we bought at Lake Monticello a few months back and definitely succeeded in acquiring a contract because of the escalation clause, but paid more. It was offset by the low mortgage rates. Good show, by the way. I enjoy it. We bought in the vicinity of Beach 4, a very nice home on a short street. Moved here from Florida, Central Florida, where we were for 25 years. Logan Foster was the selling agent for the house that he got.
Love Section 4. It's where my parents live.
Yeah, I don't want to poo-poo the escalation clause. It's just to me sometimes it's just better to go in with your highest and best.
Keith's right. It just reduces the risk of paying more.
Buster Fox watching in the mortgage business. Buster Fox, hell of a pool player as well, and he's talking about when your client or somebody that you are doing a deal with opened up a line of credit. Deposit money, USDA loans require an explanation of every deposit that isn't a paycheck.
That is correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he said emphasize that on the show.
So if it was a conventional, more than likely that's not the case. But if they're doing some sort of FHA loan or something like that, that's again a Scott question for Wednesday. But yes, you need to. So if your family gives you money to help you do the deal, you have to explain that, is what he's saying. Yeah, and the term that I use is seasoned. Right, it has to be there for a certain period of time, and it has to be explained on how you received this money. There's very few loan products out there. In fact, none that I can be aware of at the moment that you don't have to explain where this deposit came from.
Right.
Kelsey is watching in the pavilions of Pantops and wants to talk Rivanna Village. It's a long comment here, so Kelsey, I'm going to do my best to paraphrase this for you. With new neighborhoods that are brand new construction, do you guys see those as being more difficult to buy into as opposed to older neighborhoods? She also says, how much is Rivanna Village's appreciation associated with the escalating prices in Glenmore? And she also says, are there any comparison neighborhoods that you have to Rivanna Village where all the construction is new? Love the show, by the way, she says. So she's got, and Kelsey, I don't want to assume here, Pavilions at Pantops, a townhome on Pantops, very hot neighborhood, great location. Those are selling like hotcakes. If she's thinking about potentially climbing the ladder of housing, she's asking questions here to potentially help her here. So anywhere you guys want to go on these topics here, Maggie, why don't you start?
I definitely think that's a hard question to answer in terms of are older neighborhoods easier to get into than newer neighborhoods. Look, real estate is so nuanced that answer could not be like a one size fits all. It really is going to depend on a variety of factors. But I do think that the point she's trying to, that she's curious about, there is some truth to that about Rivanna Village. I definitely think like the people that are buying in that neighborhood, I think are going to be medical professionals, people like that who don't have a lot of time to do to take care of maintenance and repairs and updating and things like that. Those are my sellers. That's who's buying the house. And they need to get to work at UVA or Martha or wherever they are, and they don't have time for that. So I do think it's going to make it perhaps a little bit more competitive. I do, depending on the level of work. I mean, Glenmore, some of the houses are much older in there.
True.
Which then I actually kind of like that.
But the lots are different. The lots are different sizes.
The trees.
Yeah.
Right.
So Rivanna Village are probably 0.3 and under.
Right.
I would imagine the home you were selling was probably 0.15 to 0.2. In lot size.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah. The yard is very little maintenance because they're small.
Right.
The homes are brand new. HVAC's brand new. Rooftops brand new. So to her point, you come in there, it's essentially freaking turnkey.
And they're nice.
It's great construction.
Ryan Homes, what they do, the one thing Ryan Homes does well is their floor plans. They know how to maximize every single inch, and that is like they do that better than anybody. They're great floor plans.
Keith, jump in here.
Yeah, so I'll bring this from a historical perspective in my background as a recovering developer and builder. Historically, if you're in a project or in a subdivision that is in the process of building new homes and you're trying to resell while they're still building new homes, you are generally put at a disadvantage.
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not brand new.
It's not brand new.
It's like trying to sell a used car compared to a new car.
And in today's market, that normalcy isn't applicable, right? Because there's just not enough product out there. And so what'll happen is...
But Rivanna is sold out. Correct me if I'm wrong. It is completely sold out.
I'm just making a general statement because I wasn't exactly sure where the question was going, and that was what I heard anyway. For what it's worth.
Like Crozet, I feel like people in Crozet have to pay attention to that a little bit more because there's so much new construction, like relative to anywhere else.
But is there?
Maybe not right now, but in years past, definitely in years past. Maybe not today. Because there's no inventory even in Crozet, even new construction, there's nothing anywhere.
So it's funny you brought up new construction because I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the new construction going around Lake Monticello, right? And Lake Monticello is one of these prime examples, right? It's 4,500 lots. It's pretty much built out. The last 12 months, there were only, hold on a second here, I will get this here for a minute. There were only 10 homes, there's only 10 homes available in Lake Monticello right now in the pending level, and they're all Liberty homes. There's no actives, and there's 28 that just sold, and that sold pretty much all of 2021 and 2022. So, Lake Monticello is pretty much built out, right?
Yes.
You're only going to see a few more, but there's two other subdivisions that go around Lake Monticello: Village Oaks and Island Hill. Village Oak totally sold out. Right, there are 4 pending units, 79 that sold in the last 12 months. The median sales price is $328, and the only new construction that's available around Lake Monticello is Island Hill, and the median list price on those, and there's 9 of them available. By the way, that's the last 9.
Right.
Is 400, and the median is 409,000 listed. The average list price is $420, and there's only 2 that close, and the median sales price right now is $412.
So the floor plan I'm selling at Rivanna Village is one of the floor plans they're selling in Island Hill.
That's exactly right.
And that floor
Master
plan.
bedroom on the first floor?
No, it's the colonial. It's the colonial style,
Got
that
it.
open concept. But they are like $100,000 less or plus, less, I think maybe even a little bit more than $100,000 less.
Well, that's
in Island
the
Hill.
dirt cost.
Right, exactly. It's the cost of the land, and it because Island Hill is a little bit further from Charlottesville, and it's a different county, so different market value.
What do you make of that, Smith?
I just, that's always the case. It's always been that way that you cross the line into Albemarle County. They add $100,000 or $100,000 plus to it. I will tell you, my tax assessment is telling me otherwise, which is an interesting thing for another show and another day on that end of it. But yeah, you're 100% right. It's you cross the line, you go in. The reason I kind of went through those stats pretty quickly is there's really no new construction going on out there to go ahead and pull in. As you well know, they shot down a project around the lake, so that would have given us an opportunity to have another couple hundred units. We're not having that. Now, how do you feel about that?
I just, it's Albemarle County and Charlottesville does not want suburban sprawl, right? And so, which it's great. It preserves the county. It preserves so much. What that makes this community so special. But we do need to have planned growth, and this county. I mean, a part of the reason why the prices have gone where they have is because people didn't build for a decade, and not that they should have been. They wouldn't have made any money. But we do need to see people who are going to develop certain parts of Central Virginia that allows for the growth, because people are going to be continued to move here. And Charlottesville's very expensive, and it's going to continue to be out of reach for the vast majority of people. And so to be able to look at a county like Fluvanna County and to be able to do, to bring neighborhoods like that in is going to be important, I think. And an opportunity for the county to do something. It doesn't have to all of a sudden be Loudoun County, but it can be something nice.
So today was going to be a little bit about Lake Monticello, so I ran a lot of stats about Lake Monticello. So of the 8 homes that are currently on the market today, keep in mind 4 of them are over between 66 and 116 days, but the 4 that are available under that 9 to 0, which is where we feel is where the market days on market need to be.
Right.
One of them is 275, one of them is 279, then it jumps up to 465 and 614. So in reality, under $300,000, there's only 2 homes available in Lake Monticello out of 4,300 and whatever number of houses. Right. That's insane.
It is insane because where is the affordable housing within Central Virginia? It's not even going to be at the lake. Like if you think about that, your inventory is what's going to drive price. And if we don't have that, those prices are going to go up.
So Neil says, President Free Enterprise Forum, this is going to get even worse. The housing inventory standpoint. And I'm going to say this again. I say this often on the show. I think affordable housing is nothing but 2 buzzwords utilized to win elections in jurisdictions. And I hate to say that, but that's the case. And to put it in perspective.
So let's change this a little bit to interrupt. Let's call it housing affordability.
Okay.
I prefer that over affordable housing because.
And did you see Michael Payne, city councilor, said if we do school reconfiguration in the city of Charlottesville at $75 million to reconfigure a school, then our other endeavors from an affordable housing standpoint will be non-existent.
So let's talk about some good news, right? Let's talk about some inventory good news for you and I, right, out at Lake Monticello, or folks going out at Lake Monticello. There's a project called Colonial Circle. They just got their DEQ permits. Their bonds were posted. So that's
got their representatives on screen right now.
Yeah, and they are going.
Stanley Martin.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited about that.
They're watching right here.
That's great. Good. They need. Oh wait, never mind. Never mind. I'm very, very excited about Stanley Martin. I mean, think about that. Stanley Martin. I guess we're not really allowed to talk about our. That is a great thing to see Stanley Martin investing in Fluvanna County. That's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing for the county. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
So let's talk about product. Right, no specifics on it because I don't really know what they are, but they're going to be 200 because I'm representing the seller of the property, so I know a little bit.
That's what I was going to say. Call me, Stanley Martin.
I like your hustle over here. Keith, you got anything? Keith is giving me a look. It's a competitive market out there, guys.
Taking the microphone.
It is a competitive market out there.
Who invited you? Oh, I did. Damn. But the point is...
I respect her hustle.
So there's going to be 200 homes.
I'm a rainmaker.
Same over here. So is he. Mm-hmm. We have to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is what we do.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's my skill.
200 homes.
Yeah.
Combination of attached, meaning like townhomes, and detached. They're going to be somewhere in the range in today's dollars of 250, 350 plus or minus on that end of it. You know, once they get built, strawberry. Once they get built, that's a secret. If you're going to sneeze, you look at the line and go strawberry.
I like strawberries too.
I think you're supposed to say it to yourself.
That way the viewers and listeners are like, what's the matter?
What the hell?
Go ahead. It's at work, right? You're not sneezing.
I'm
right
not
now.
sneezing.
That's a broadcasting trick.
I swear to God, it absolutely.
You look at the lights back and you say strawberry, and the sneeze goes away.
I swear to God, it works. I was about ready to sneeze. I looked up and, oops, I forgot you're supposed to say it with your inside voice. Oops. but somewhere by the end of this year and the beginning of next year, there should be some product in the ground.
Great.
But that's 2020.
Wondering if it's really going to be at 250.
Well, it depends on what the costs are going to be. But those, for
Yeah.
attached products, that they might have that price point and that stuff.
I don't know.
But the reality of it is, it's a win,
Right.
There's some product, in my opinion, it's a win. There's some product going in the ground on
Absolutely.
that end of it.
I want to buy one.
I think we had the opportunity, in my opinion, with the other project, and this is just my opinion, to have more of the same.
Yeah.
Instead, we're going to have island hills of $400,000 to $500,000.
Which blows my mind that Ryan Homes is building $400,000 to $500,000 price point in the county on half-acre lots. It just really knocks my socks off.
So I did a spreadsheet and I sent that out to you guys the last 10 years on cost, just to put it into perspective. In 13, in Fluvanna County only, not Lake Monticello, the median sales price was $180,000.
So crazy.
2022, this is January, so I'm doing January over January.
Okay.
So I just took a look at what January was, 1 month was in 13. Last January it was 350. So that went from 180
Amazing.
in 10 years up to 350.
I'm not surprised.
Lake Monticello a little bit lighter, 170 this January in 13.
Right.
In 2020 this January it was 310, just a little bit.
And that makes sense because
Little
the
bit
acreage,
lighter.
you're going to pay more on the acreage. You used to be able to buy at the lake those little ranchers for $70,000. And they would sit, and then 6 months later they would finally get picked up. So and that lasted for years. And so see these prices is great.
It's funny, we were talking before we went on air, so the number of units in that 1 month,
Right.
and this is Fluvanna County, 13 in January 2022.
Okay.
13, it was 14 units. So it was almost on par,
Amazing.
right, in 10 years. So there was the same amount of units sold
Right.
in 13 versus 22. That one January month.
Remember that stat that we were talking about earlier today was that the new construction sales in Fluvanna, or it was either the lake or Fluvanna County back in...
Well, at that point, it was Lake Monticello, because in 2006 was in the 800s.
Well, it was there was such a huge spike in new construction at the lake in the early 2000s.
Correct.
That was when their biggest spike was, and Fluvanna County was the second fastest growing county in the state of Virginia at that point, behind Loudoun County. So we are not seeing that new construction. There is that opportunity, I think, for builders in Fluvanna, is my point.
Well, that's assuming we can get
the county to approve it. They should do that.
Yeah, what Maggie's referring to is back in the 90s and the 2000s, there was a decade there where we were producing 800 plus or minus new construction units. It was all Lake Monticello.
Right.
So, how about this question? Rivanna Village seems to be a hot spot right here on the program.
Great.
And Maggie brought this up here. This is actually an interesting question here. This is from Christopher. You said new homes are coming on the market in Rivanna Village. what's the impact of having resales like Maggie was talking about on current homeowners in a new development like the one she's referring to?
In that neighborhood specifically, or just generally?
I think he means in general terms. So if like the first homes are trading for such higher price points than what they bought, do you guys see that having an impact on other people selling their home?
Yeah, absolutely. It's good. New construction used to be something like a new car. You would never make money off of it immediately. That was like a bad, like that's something you wouldn't necessarily, it took time to build that equity in markets like 10 years ago. In today's market, to see $100,000 on something that should not have increased in value, to have it increase such a significant portion of its value.
Is it 20%?
I don't know what that number is, but it's big.
Well,
I
can tell you from the land, because the land trust, we just put on the market our first resale that we built 2 years ago on Nassau Street, and it jumped $100,000 in value.
That's because the city is anything, and this is why I'm like kicking myself. I still don't own my houses in Belmont, but seriously, anything in the city sells, and you don't sell it. Like just hold on to it and be like, I own this. This is great. My net worth is going to increase. Huge percentage, at least minimum. I mean, the city. there's no more land.
Not just the city, even the urban ring.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like
right slightly over the county line.
Absolutely, but good. If you can get your hand on property in the city of Charlottesville, keep it.
Island Hill has zero amenities also.
Well, that's not. Yeah. Oh, Island Hill. No,
Island Hill has
amenities.
Zero amenities.
Yeah.
This was an example of rezoning that would have had amenities, that would have had everything that did not get passed.
Why not?
And they went by right.
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to develop, at least do it with intention and like quality of life things.
Well, it's one step a little further than that. And we've had this debate with Chris Fairchild and Tony O'Brien on the show. The comprehensive plan and the land use plans say this is where we want it. And then when it's presented, it doesn't get passed. And then
I need to go.
then the path of least resistance kicks in, which is the by right subdivision. And so instead of producing 200 or whatever it is, 250 to 350 homes, they're going to be producing like an Island Hill, the 400 to 500. And in today's market, they're just going to sell them.
Oh, right.
And they're going to sell them in a heartbeat.
But it would be nice if they would be developing neighborhoods that have a little bit more, like I said, quality of life things. Because there is... I don't understand, especially in Fluvanna County, I think their purpose is to I get preserving the country, absolutely 100%, but doesn't that eventually tax out farmers when your only base is real estate? Doesn't that lead to what taxes out large parcels of land?
Well, and we talked about that, if the budget is going to go up, because they always go up, right, and your revenue isn't going up, eventually you're going to have to look at other alternatives. Right. And if you can't bring the commercial in, this is going to be an unpopular comment I'm going to make, then somebody's going to have to start looking at land use taxes, right, and say, Mr. Farmer, we're going to have to charge. And so if anybody knows anything about the history of housing, take a look at Long Island, what happened in the 40s and the 50s. That's literally what happened is they built all these rooftops. They didn't build a lot of industry. They didn't build a lot of other businesses into it. And these farmers needed to sell their land because they couldn't pay the taxes.
Right.
So
it has the opposite effect of what they're trying to do. And I feel like I said, Charlottesville is a hot place in the Mid-Atlantic, in the country, in the world. It's going to continue to be, and Fluvanna is going to continue to be a driving force in that affordable housing market. And so, whether they want it or not, it's going to happen.
Housing affordability, or just housing for all, right? Island Hill is 49 lots. They've only closed 2 of them. Right? There's actually 2 folks that took possession of it. Every other one of them is in a source of construction. I mean, my God, I wish I was developing now, right? To go ahead, start a development and have everything sold out.
It's incredible.
And then they'll finish this subdivision a year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they don't allow you to do any sort of customizations, but I don't even mean customizations. I mean finishing the basement.
They don't even offer that anymore.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I take that back. I know that they weren't doing that, I believe, in the neighborhood across from the main gate, but they definitely have cut back on your selections. Right. Yeah. And so because they want to get these houses done and they don't want to be sidetracked with any sort of customizations or extras that they don't have to do to sell the house because they don't need to.
So here's the good
houses
news.
are selling.
Maggie Gunnels is going to bring on at least 3 more homes.
I am.
At
Hopefully 4.
Lake Monticello. So
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our
Bonnie
inventory's
says
gonna
you're
double.
right. There will be growing pressure to get rid of land use valuations. So that's something that's being acknowledged from Crozet. You should highlight the homes you're going to bring on. Can we do that?
Sort of.
Okay.
Ranch, I really can't. I technically can't yet, but
Is this the coming soon?
yeah, we're not quite within 14 days.
Okay.
But ranches, I'm bringing on ranches and hopefully some
So Maggie,
colonials.
this is what we're going to do. When you are within your 14-day window,
Yeah.
right? You give
Once this Thursday.
Okay, so we'll figure out a way on the schedule to get you back on so you can talk about that. My problem is by the time we do that and come back on,
They're
you'll
gonna be
have,
sold.
you'll have them sold
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, it's gonna be sold.
But we can talk about the experience and how it worked and as a tool to go ahead and help to get some listings.
Yeah.
But again, in my opinion, there's only 4 homes on the market at Lake Monticello. You're going to double that almost.
I know,
Pretty darn
you're making me
close.
think I need to increase my price, actually. Now that I'm looking at those numbers, I mean, it's
Can we talk ballpark prices?
Well, in the 2s for one of them, which is, it's going to sell like
hotcakes. Good
hotcakes.
Lord.
Yeah, it's going to. And it,
High 2s?
I mean, I'm feeling like maybe it needs to be. I think I need to readjust price, seriously.
So here's the difference of hiring a trusting advisor, hiring a pro, hiring somebody like Maggie or Yona and I and all this stuff. You will not put that house on the market if it has fundamental flaws, right? You just won't take the listing because otherwise, at least we
I'll
won't.
take it.
No.
Well,
Let me rephrase.
I don't think I've ever turned
Let
down
me-
a listing except one time.
Let
I
me
won't even
rephrase
go
the
why,
question.
but I have.
Would you take a listing that has fundamental flaws that is overpriced?
Yes.
Yeah. We have difference of opinion.
In this market?
Of course, I will pick up buyers off that, and I get to market my team, and I don't have to be. I can market without feeling spammy because I have a reason to tell people about something. So yeah, absolutely, I'm going to.
I mean, wouldn't you say of any market out there, a market that is willing to overlook fundamental flaws is this one?
Absolutely, this is the time.
This is the time.
This is the time to test price
And fundamental flaws.
and fundamental flaws.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Isn't
You've
there a
had a hard house to sell. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was going to tell you fundamental flaws. I wrote on a house that has 9,000 square feet. Like that's a fundamental flaw. That's way too
massive.
big.
Good Lord.
No one wants a
Except
9,000.
for the Brady Bunch?
Right. It took them 6 years to try. They tried for 6 years to try and sell this house. Then they get 3 offers on it.
I mean,
now,
we
at a higher price than what they listed it at like 3 years ago too.
We don't have to talk specifics with YRP and you guys, but you guys recently had success.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, with something in that category, if you may.
Correct. So that's what the line I was trying to go down with.
Yeah.
If you're going to take a listing, in my opinion, with fundamental flaws, you're going to have to set expectations.
Oh, yeah, I still do that.
With the seller,
Right.
You know, you it's no good for anybody.
Right.
It's no good for your reputation. It's no good for
No.
the seller if it sits on the market too long.
Oh, I let people know.
So let's talk about how you do that because I think we do it the same way.
Yeah, just straight, usually.
Correct. So if you want to put the home on the market that is overpriced, that's fundamentally flawed, we'll try it for a period of time. But after that, we will be reducing it to this. And do you have that conversation before you start?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's look.
We're on the same page. That's what we do.
Happy to try this, but
Yeah.
we have to see what the market says. I can't guarantee anything. I can't make.
You're not a magician.
I'm not a magician.
Yeah.
I can
Well-
definitely help hedge your bets in the
Right.
right direction, but I can't guarantee anything. And so yeah, absolutely. And then they can decide if they want to reduce, not, or take it off market, or keep moving forward. But I'll still pick up buyers off of it. And again, it's an opportunity to continue to put our brand out there.
Right.
So yeah. Absolutely.
So the median days on market sold in Fluvanna County for the last 30 days is 5.
Right. That's
Right.
5 days.
5 days. So
Ridiculous.
what has closed in
And that's
Fluvanna-
median.
That's median.
Right.
Yeah.
What is closed in the last 30 days, the median days on market was 5. The average was 24. So
Okay.
going back to this number where you're looking at 249 of what's available, these are about ready to pop.
Oh, yeah.
Right. They will pop.
They're
and all this
negotiating
stuff.
offers.
They're negotiating offers.
Maybe,
When you
probably.
hit that 66, 93, 116, 104, whoever's representing them, and I don't really know who it is, I didn't look at them, really either can't get that price down to where it needs to be, because that's what this is all about
Right.
on this end of it, or whatever. And the point I was trying to get out about fundamental overpricing makes a huge difference even in this market.
Yeah.
That's a prime example right there that if your home is overpriced, it's going to sit.
Right. It's still true today. Absolutely. You can't overprice. I mean, you
You can overprice
there's
for a
a
period
fine
of time.
line,
Yeah.
but it sometimes if you go too greedy, buyers are not going to respond.
Do you think, this question's come in, is this phenomenon going to get worse?
Yes.
Before it gets better?
I think so, because we have, like we were just talking about, there's no
Inventory.
ability, but even for the ability to create inventory is limited. There's no land in the city. Albemarle County, I think Albemarle County, am I wrong in thinking they're not going to allow like 2-acre subdivisions anymore or 5-acre subdivisions anymore? It's only going to be
that's been like that way for
a while, a couple
substantial
years.
period of time.
Wasn't Whittington like the last one? And so, but like I can appreciate that has environmental impacts on
So
our
what they'll
community.
do, and they're starting to do this, is they'll start approving projects within the urban ring. They won't grow that urban ring, in my opinion, at least for one or
So
two.
they're gonna keep this, but they need to. That is going to create suburban sprawl.
I do not think any of us disagree with that. The political winds are not quite there yet for that. But this goes back to Neil Williamson, and this is a conversation we've been having all along. The time of great unpleasantness, right? We went from 1.5, 1.2, depending on who you talk to, million new construction units built a year to a couple of 100,000, to 300, to 400.
Right, for a long period of time.
About 10 years.
Right.
So we are roughly 5.5 million, depending on who you want to talk to on it. And the reality of it is, unless there's more it's just supply and demand. It's
Right.
just basics, economics 101. If we're
Right.
not able to create more inventory, if we're not able to put another 200 unit project with 250 to 350, you're going to get 50 lots or 50 homes at $500,000.
Right.
That's just what's going to happen.
Absolutely what's going to happen. And then that's why it's so great to see Stanley Martin looking at Fluvanna. I mean, that they do a ton of research on before they go in and do a community like that.
And Stanley also, and we love Stanley, and their representatives are watching the show. I'm emphasizing that yet again here, the power of LinkedIn, okay?
Yeah.
Stanley also has a huge advantage in that they have a fantastic cash position.
Well, they have
Right.
even a better position than most. There's only a couple developers in the area
That's what I'm saying.
that are both developers and builders.
Right.
So most, like Ryan,
Right.
It's just building
Builder-
homes.
this is building.
They
They're
come in and build.
dependent on
So
that.
you're looking at Stanley and what, probably Southern
Southern would be the
that
other
are
one.
developers. Those two.
Right.
At the top of my
Does
head,
Craig develop, or are they just building?
Craig used to do that.
I don't think Craig
That's
does
like
anymore.
Crozet is Crozet because of Craig.
Craig
right?
is more just custom.
Yeah,
That was like-
Craig
they
will
built that foundation.
partner with the developer. partner.
Liberty,
Right.
Liberty does not do that.
they do not develop.
They acquire.
He typically acquires like lots, individual lots, or defunct subdivisions. He's bought a bunch of those.
Okay. So we've identified two that you can think of, and this is your wheelhouse.
And it's interesting. Liberty, I don't know if you've tracked their numbers recently at Lake Monticello. It's like $100,000 more than they were last year.
I mean,
What were the last?
that's why I'm very excited Stanley's coming in.
Stanley's fantastic. We love you, Stanley. We
Yes.
love you, Stanley. I
Yeah,
can't
but-
emphasize that enough.
We need
Yeah.
that for Fluvanna.
100%.
The market's there.
But-
So here's the topic I was going to throw, and I'll get out of your way. You guys are the experts. It says something that Stanley is shifting perhaps its focus from Albemarle to Fluvanna. When is
Yeah.
the last Stanley development in Albemarle that you can think of?
Yeah.
Whittington, Oak Hill?
Yeah, I would not categorize it that way.
How would you
I would
categorize
categorize it that they're looking at other options along with Albemarle County. To say that they're moving out of the Albemarle County market is incorrect. They are. The difference is the length of time it takes to get something approved.
Okay, there you go.
In Albemarle, the runway is so much longer than, say, Louisa or Greene, because they're working on a project out in Greene, right? And Fluvanna County. Those runways are considerably shorter, like years shorter to go and get through that. So that's the difference. So behind the scenes, they're in there doing it. They're just trying to get through the system.
What was the last Stanley development in Albemarle that you can think of? Oak Hill and Whittington?
Oh yeah,
Viewers and listeners.
I'd be afraid to say. The Stanley Martin folks can chime in. I don't want to misquote what the last one that they were in.
Okay. And let us know here. So Maggie, anything you want to add to this?
No, it's again a really great sign for the future of Fluvanna if we can get people who are in charge on board. I really like.
So
I
let's
always thought they should have brought an elementary school to the lake. They should bring more things. I mean, 15,000 people live at the lake. That is a big small town.
That is a big small town.
That's the busiest. I think I've told you guys this. That's the busiest food line on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So interesting, that roundabout, so that you know, depending on what numbers you
So
look
Brook
at.
Hill was on the feed. We're still focused on Albemarle County. Currently at Brook Hill, opened a building last weekend, 12-16 under contract.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brook Hill's one. That's north of town.
Yeah.
That's 29 north, right there.
And I
Right,
believe
that's-
we're talking about Stanley Martin still.
Yeah.
Yes, I think they have a project coming out of the ground on Avon that I think just went through site plan process. So there's a project coming out there. So there's stuff in the works, always moving along, always in the works on that. That's what you have to do in this line of work, right? You always got to be. These are long game things. These are planning 1, 5, 10 years down the road.
Right.
You know, you just can't plan that, which makes it really interesting because the market starts changing, right?
Yeah.
We went 10 years at Lake Monticello, went from 170 to 310, right?
Well, it's the market's changing. I'm sitting here actually thinking I'm underpricing this house because the market really has changed just in even the last 6 weeks. That's how.
You're welcome to have all this if you want.
In the last 10
Yes,
days.
really.
The last 10 days.
It can.
Yeah.
It has. I mean, we set the new standard of where we think Rivanna Village is going to
Dude,
be.
you just said it. Yeah, Rivanna Village.
Right.
Right? I mean, she changed the market in 10 days.
That's right.
I mean, you did.
I did it all by myself.
I mean, well, you're listing, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see that
I
you
love
were able
that Rivanna
to.
Village is selling how
I
it's selling.
know it is. I'm not surprised.
Avon Park.
Avon Park.
More
that's it.
info
That's Avon
to
Park.
share on that next month.
Yeah, Avon Park. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name of it.
The viewers and listeners are smart. You cannot.
They're way smarter than me, that's for sure.
No, I mean, this is what happens when you crowdsource thousands of people at one time.
So, Maggie, please, is Christy still watching? I'm
Christy
sure she
is still watching.
I love her.
So look, guys, there's going to be some more projects happening in Fluvanna County. Please get engaged and share with the elected officials, with the county, with
Yeah.
everybody. You're feeling, because they're only seeing it from one side, right? I had this conversation with Christy. I said, Christy, if they brought that subdivision in, how would you feel? How would your millennial pool of friends feel about it? And they were all like, hey, this is cool, right?
Yeah.
And we need to be engaged. We need, it has to be more than Neil Williams or Keith.
Neil Williamson.
Williamson, thank you. I've always screwed that up.
He's my friend. He's your friend, too.
He's my friend,
Yeah.
too.
Just forgot the one syllable.
Yeah. He watches the program routinely. He contributes often.
Is it only one syllable? I think it's more than that. I probably screwed up. But anyway, so please get engaged. Please do
Yes.
that. Please.
I think so because it really does add to the quality of life. If there can be some they just need more of those like community gathering spaces or just something. I don't know. It would be great to see a bit more business opportunities in restaurants, and it doesn't have to cover the whole county, but just do that around the lake or do that in Zion Crossroads.
So thank you for Zion Crossroads. So what's going to happen with this, since this didn't get approved, there will be these little 40, 50, 75 lot subdivisions, daisy chaining. In other words, connecting to one after another after
I think
another.
that's called sprawl.
That is called
exactly
sprawl.
what that is.
That's
I
called
prefer the
sprawl.
term
They're
daisy.
Well, yeah,
That's-
you're trying to positive market like you do the upzoning thing. That's called sprawl, and that's going to tax the infrastructure.
That's what they don't want to happen. That's
I know.
exactly what's
It's
going to
the
happen.
opposite.
Well,
It's the absolute opposite.
It's going to put a ton of pressure on the farmers to sell.
Well,
That's what's going to happen.
This is from Lonnie. The cost of leapfrog development, another description.
Leapfrog, yeah.
The cost of leapfrog development in Fluvanna County and a more laissez-faire attitude towards development is that you end up with way too much residential development and not enough commercial development.
That's exactly
Plus,
right.
sprawl costs way more than compact development. Eventually, you end up with an infrastructure deficit like Fluvanna and Augusta have, and then much higher taxes.
So true. It's so true.
Could not have said that any better than myself.
Well said, Lonnie
Yeah,
Murray.
absolutely.
But unfortunately, that's the track we're on at the moment.
Well, how do you want to handle that? Do we want to encourage certain supervisors?
So the way
in
you want
Fluvanna?
to handle
know.
it.
They've come on the show. They've
We-
come on the show.
Well, yeah, purposely have invited them on, and we'll continue to invite them on, and they'll continue to come in, and we will have this open debate in front of the cameras and the whole world on I Love Charlottesville and Real Talk. But it also depends on you, Maggie, and your friends,
Right.
and Christy and Lonnie and all these people that are watching, that are in that community. Get your opinion heard, because
Right.
in reality, and I sit in enough of these meetings and I read enough of these reports because I don't have a life, and it's always one-sided.
You have a life, you just don't have any kids right now at home, so you have more time than we have.
That's what I was thinking.
That's
When you
the
sent me these
difference.
documents, I'm like, wow, Keith, that
Yeah.
is really impressive.
I was looking at these documents. I'm like, my 4-year-old is in the other room right now, absolutely demanding my attention. But I'm trying to flip through this while playing
that's-
Matchbox cars with him.
Yeah.
You have kids, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I was like, that took work and effort. And
I know.
That's several. I
thought that.
I said this once before. I will continue to say it. Doing the show multiple times a
Keeps
week
you on point.
has made me a better real estate agent.
Because you know everything you say here is going to be questioned, second guessed, and vetted.
And that's just you.
And that's just me. And look at the realtors that are watching.
Yeah, I purposely don't want to look at that. I just like being free flow and talk. But you're 100% right. I love this. That was literally a half of my Sunday working through that.
I was wondering. I thought, wow.
But you guys are right. We don't have little people. We have
the little people.
We have a little 4-legged friend.
I have a 5, 6, and 7-year-old.
Oh God bless you.
Wow. Rock star over here. 5, 6, and 7.
I get
Yes.
I have FaceTime breakfast
Oh
with my granddaughter.
God. 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
And running a business. That's
2
badass
businesses,
right there.
actually.
2
That's right.
businesses. That is badass. I'm giving you some props over here.
Thank
And
you.
managing a husband.
Oh, yeah.
That's a topic for
Yeah, that's another day.
so let me throw this to you guys here. This is for multiple people here. What is the next hot pocket that Keith and Maggie see?
Oh,
You're talking about
Neighborhoods.
Neighborhoods.
I mean, Lake Monticello, to say that's a hot pocket is like yesterday's news. And can it even be a hot pocket with such little inventory out there?
I definitely think that Stanton is a great long-term investment if you're thinking locally. I think before I had mentioned Lynchburg to you guys. I think that just because of the fact that Liberty is flush, majorly flush, like I would totally invest in Lynchburg.
You're talking about Liberty University.
Oh man, they are flush.
She's right.
They have like a indoor skiing thing there. I mean, they've got the dollars, and so the fact that they are so flush, like that would be a great place to invest within the state. And Stanton, I think, is a fantastic little town. It's so charming. So
It is.
charming.
Downtown is great.
It's quintessential Virginia defined in a little town in the Blue Ridge. It's perfect.
And
Well
with,
said.
with gas prices stabilizing a little bit, that kind of makes it a little bit more attractive. When you start approaching this $4 thing, I see that impact it.
Right.
Locally, within the car footprint, and I've been saying this all along, and we're about ready to do something with it. It's the Flavanna, Louisa, Zion's Crossroads area.
Zion Crossroads.
We're dangerously close to actually getting the extra 400,000 gallons of water per day out of the James. My suspicion is that's probably between 1 to 1.5 years from now. Just to put it in perspective, the pipes are in the ground. Literally,
Right.
the pipes are running from the James up to Ferncliff. There's a production facility built.
I did not realize that, actually.
All that is in the ground. This is
Okay.
all a matter of one withdrawal permit that's caught up in some sort of lawsuit. On that end of it, they are going to move that withdrawal intake. It's called an intake. Once that gets in there, that raw water is going to flow. It's multi-millions of gallons a day up to Ferncliff, get produced, treated, and then they're pushing 400,000 gallons extra back towards Zion's Crossroads.
Right.
So Zion's Crossroads is going to be the next big thing.
Yes, I definitely, that, again, another huge lost opportunity for Fluvanna County with Zion Crossroads. I mean, the reality is everybody shops at Lowe's, everybody shops at Walmart, and so now those tax dollars have been put into Louisa, which is super unfortunate for the real estate tax base within Fluvanna County. That's why they should develop these areas like Ferncliff, like Zion Crossroads, like the lake, that are those population hubs, and then keep the rural county rural, and don't and do that thoughtfully. I mean, you can. do think that Albemarle County has done that. It probably is a smart move not to allow these 2-acre, 5-acre subdivisions and do more high-density housing. I mean, and look, it's working. People buy them.
So the reason why I think Fulvana, matter of fact, my opinion is Fulvana and Zions Crossroads and Louise is going to work. We're in we meaning that the Planning District Commission and the both two counties are working on creating a joint plan so that we can work together to develop that. Because one side can't do it on its own and the other can't. We have to work together on it.
Right.
The next big one is green, right? Green is in the dangerously close of coming up with a solution for its water circumstances, and once it finishes that, you're going to see green growing a little bit.
Jason Howard has this
think that's
question
a great
for
area.
Maggie and Keith. Are there still plans for another Harris Teeter at Zions Crossroads as part of the development going on there near Walmart?
I actually didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, so the answer to that, the short answer is I don't know. That has been in debate forever. Chick-fil-A's been in debate forever out there.
Look, that is the spot. If you're driving from Richmond, from the eastern part of the state to the western part of the state, that's the only relatively easy pit stop. The rest of it, coming into Charlottesville, you got to go up Pantops. But Zion Crossroads is right there. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had read a statistic, and this was like a decade ago, like 70,000 people or something. I don't know. I don't even know what sounds right, but it's some crazy amount of people go through there every single day.
Yeah, that's the reason why VDOT built that divergent diamond interchange,
Right.
that special intersection.
Right.
I can tell you, I know a little bit about this because we helped, Johnny and Steve.
Johnny's watching. In fact, he just said Johnny Ornelas owns El Mariachi and Guadalajara JPA. I love the show. I'm in the kitchen working, and you guys are in the background doing a great job.
Aw.
So I believe at El Mariachi Zion's Crossroads right now, and we love his restaurant.
Oh, fun. Yes, we do.
right?
We absolutely
And I'm
do.
glad that Chick-fil-A's not coming because that food is 1,000% better at El.
Johnny will love to hear that.
El Mariachi.
Absolutely love to hear that.
But I won't take any thunder away from him because I won't do the numbers. But those numbers are pretty stellar out of there as far
They're
as sales
huge numbers.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, I didn't realize. Yes.
go. No, it's okay. It's okay. So my point is to go back to your 60,000, 70,000, 80,000. There's a ton of it. They're rocking the world over there, and I won't do any specifics. That's up to Johnny to do. But
Right.
the numbers are freaking awesome.
There's nothing in Goochland. Going to Richmond, it's super, super rural. There's no commercial right off the interstate. There's nothing through Albemarle County that's that convenient.
Plus, it's an easy drive down to downtown Charlottesville, down to UVA, right? You're on 64, bam, you're there.
Oh yeah, so if you live and work within the area, I mean that's a great place to consider for housing because it is going to be a little bit less expensive than Albemarle County. And I mean the other great thing about Zion Crossroads is you have Gordonsville right around the corner.
Ooh,
I mean,
yeah.
I love Gordonsville. They've got some really great restaurants there. You could even get to Orange. They've got great restaurants in Orange. You could go out to the town of Louisa. There are other little cute Virginia little town opportunities to go and antique shopping and things like that. So I think that Zion Crossroads gives you the opportunity to do things like that and Charlottesville.
What do you think about green?
Yeah, green's beautiful. Goodness, I think green is just absolutely gorgeous. And the one thing, obviously, with driving 29, but besides that, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for Pretty Creek, all of that. I think there's some great opportunities.
I think you're going to hear relatively soon some new projects coming along.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely because
development.
the land is less expensive, and then they can get in and have some more affordable housing in Greene County.
How about some final thoughts here to close the show? Maggie Gunnels, show is yours.
It's so much fun.
You're great in this setting.
Love it. I love it. It's so much fun. It's, I have the gift of the gab.
You do. You do. You are good at your job.
As my grandmother would say, you were vaccinated with a phonograph needle instead of a hypodermic needle.
Neither Maggie nor I know what that means.
Tell me that later, because I'm like, wait, I can't digest that yet.
And I don't think we know what that means.
I don't know.
So that means a phonograph, it's a turntable. You put a needle on it, you put an old vinyl record on it, and people talk. So that means instead of using a regular needle to get shot, you were injected with a phonograph needle. And my grandmother said that about me, by the way. So, and she usually said, shut up after that.
I still don't get it. Do you?
I think he's talking about a record player. I think that's what he's talking about over here.
Okay.
It's the record player, the thing that goes on the record
Well,
player. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm the youngest of 5
Yeah.
very strong women, and so
You had to survive.
I had to
So
survive.
my grandmother actually used the word Victrola, so that you know. But that's okay. I'm dating myself here.
How about closing thoughts over here for Keith Smith?
I'm showing a picture of a phonograph to Maggie.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, Maggie, I always love having you on here. You're always a lot of fun. This is this is what we do. We do it well, and you're a pro at what you do. And I'm excited that you're going to bump the available homes by a substantial amount. So
Yeah.
thank you.
For a hot minute.
For a minute.
Yeah, for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raise those prices 10%.
I think I might.
Yeah, seriously.
I seriously am going
But
to.
But the fact that you're on the ground and making it happen, that's what I wanted to showcase. That you
That's
are
our value.
That's your value. You're on the
Right.
ground. You're building your relationships. You're building. This is not about transactions. This is about relationships, and people trust you
That's right.
and to put their homes on the market. So kudos to you, man.
Thank
kudos.
you.
Keith
Thank
Smith, Yes Realty Partners, Maggie Gunnels, the Gunnels Group, Judah Wickhauer is our director, and today was a super fun, entertaining, and engaging Real Talk on a Monday in February.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did. The I Love CVille show is up in 50 minutes, guys, and thank you kindly for joining us. Have a good morning. Take care. Well done.
Well done, Maggie.
you.